chain reaction. As the last review of my last sexual performance goes, let's keep this short. So, I am from South Carolina. You may be able to tell a little bit about my accent, where we are 49th in education, or as we like to call it, thank God for Louisiana. So there are certain stereotypes that tend to be very hurtful. That's one that tends to be a little bit accurate. I'm not saying that we don't care about education in South Carolina, but I will say that I was invited back to my elementary school as a success story. Got to speak at my elementary school while I was on academic probation from college. Yes, that is true. Has anybody ever turned in an exam blank? Oh, just me. Okay. All right. Good to know. Good to know. So, really, when we talk about being from the South, there are certain things that are stereotypes. People talk about you're racist. That's one that people have heard from. You can't drive in the snow. You guys eat really fatty food. Everything's covered in okay. Can we talk about the last one for a second? Of course. It's delicious. Have you ever met anybody eating biscuits and gravy with a frown on their face? No. Everybody's excited to eat biscuits and gravy. But you've seen people choke down kale smoothies, haven't you? Yeah, that's no fun. You know, have you ever heard whenever they talk about champagne that isn't from a certain region of France, isn't really champagne, has to come from the Champagne region of France? Well, I feel the same way about racism. Really, the racism in the South is it's just like you would not believe. I have people who try to argue with me. They'll say things like, Boston is a racist country, or a racist city. Country, whatever it is. Like Boston. You know? Have you ever heard people talk from Boston? You ever heard people say, they say things like, oh, let's go get in the car. Let's go drive to the bar. They say things like that. How can you be the most racist city in the country if you can't even say the hard R? But we're so racist in the South. My family actually tried to convince me once upon a time that Martin Luther King Day was a holiday commemorating the day that he was shot. Which actually makes a lot of sense now that I think about it, because if they had a holiday celebrating martyrs, that explains why so many in my family take off work on January 6th. Ooh, that one touched a few people. That touched a few nerves there. I like that one. What are some other stereotypes? You guys marry young, right? Is that one of the things they say about the South? This one I'm actually guilty of. I met my wife when she was 13 years old. Honest to God, she was 13. She was 6 months pregnant. The cutest girl at the family reunion. The fact that any of you believe what I just said goes to show you believe the stereotypes about the South. But yes, she was 13, but I was 15 at the time. We did get married young, and you know how they say that, well, you marry somebody who's like your mother? You've probably heard that phrase before. I did the complete opposite. I married somebody who actually tells me that they love me. So that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, I appreciate that. She can also cook. My mom's a terrible cook. I mean, the worst you'll ever see. She made macaroni and cheese, and the cheese was sliced processed cheese she laid on top of wet noodles. So it was not the best food you'll ever find in your life. But, you know, I mentioned before that we've been married for over 20 years now. So, not to each other, but we've been married for over 20 years. We were going strong with one another, but she did something to me the other day that really kind of shocked me. I found out the other day that I am bi-curious, and it was involuntarily that I found out that I was bi-curious, because when I was gone on a business trip one time, she installed bidets on our toilets that we had. Oh, there's a fun experience. But what she didn't tell me was about using the bidet the correct way to use it. She got somewhere you have to actually turn the knob to a certain point so it builds up pressure, and then you press a button and it releases. Well, she didn't indicate that to me, so it wouldn't come on, so I cranked this all the way up as far as it'll go. I hit that button, and when I tell you those bidets are accurate, they are immediately aimed at the brown eye, the bullseye is where they hit the target every single time. Have you ever had mouthwash come from the inside? But that was an experience, and found out that maybe I was a little bit vicarious, but it is interesting being in my 40s now, being somebody who has the opportunity to be in sales and getting to do stand-up comedy. It makes me reflect back and makes me think about the fact that I am getting older, and I know that I'm getting older by the times I talk to my kids about things I had when I was younger. I heard earlier talking about rap beef, and one of those things is rap music. It's very difficult as somebody who has a bad knee and somebody who has to stretch just to get out of bed in the morning to be in the shower, lathering himself up and saying, "I ain't a killer, but don't push me." Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting cushioned tennis shoes to be able to make jokes on a daily basis. But to be able to say, straight out of Compton, it's the crazy brother named Ice Cube. From the gang called, now what is TikTok exactly? And then there's R&B music. Do you remember when R&B music used to be good, when it had messages to it? There was a guy, Genuine, who had a song called Pony. Does anybody remember Pony? Yeah. So in the song, he says, if you're horny, let's do it. Ride it. My pony. So think about it for a second. He is attempting to sexualize another woman and simulate what sex is going to be. And he used a baby horse as the descriptor of that? No, girl, this is a stallion you want to come and jump on this. This ain't no pony. And the fact that I put a large horse's penis into each and every one of your minds makes me really happy here tonight as we closing things out. But it has been a blast being up here with you guys. Chris and Sean have done such an incredible job in hosting this tonight. I cannot thank you all enough for coming out tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.